want the world to view them a certain way, and who they're really not.
Yeah, and especially on that, you see all the highs, right? But you never see the lows.
You never see the lows, but the lows, I think that's the best part. I mean, when I meet people, I tell them, don't tell me the good shit about you. I want to hear things in your closet, the things that you don't want nobody to find out. Just gonna tell me who you are. I want to hear, I'm this and I'm that. That's lies. Like, if that was the case, like, you'd be president of the United States. Like, tell me the real, the dirt.
Yeah, everybody wants to be the president, but no one wants to be a politician.
Absolutely.
You heard that before?
I've heard that all the time, man. Everybody wants to be a superhero, not the sidekick. So all types of terms you can use, but I mean, I tell people, give me the funk, which means give me the real stuff. Not the artificial. Same way with makeup and all this stuff for guys, to change and this and that, just like covering up for who they really are, the people that they want to be, which goes back to rap videos and music and stuff you see on TV. Everybody wants to be this person. And
so right now you're at 168.
That's what I'm fighting at, 168.
168, and you had 3 previous fights right now, and even though you can't give us anything, but do you see yourself fighting before the end of the year or early in the year, or
possibly December? I'm working on it right now, but if not, absolutely January, February. I want to get back moving, man. But I'm still taking my time.
And you're trying to stay active because you were outside the lines for a certain period of time.
Almost 2 years. I say a year and a half, but I mean really almost 2 years.
So you're at 168. How many fights you trying to look for next year?
Maybe like between maybe 5, maybe 6. I mean, at the max, because I mean, these probably be big fights, so maybe even 4. You never know.
What goes through your mind when you're shelved for those 2 years? Are you just trying to stay focused, training, or are you just ready to throw in the towel and say?
To be honest, you really think, what the hell am I doing here? What the hell happened? What went wrong? You put so much in your life into one thing you're passionate about. You never cheated yourself on it. You're doing it consistently, time in and time out. And then it's just like, what the fuck? You really
is it even worth it, right?
I mean,
I'm pretty sure you asked yourself.
It's even worth it. It's not even like that with just boxing, but people do that in a day-to-day life. You're working the same end job, same weak-ass check, coming home to the same bullshit. And you're just like, man, what's life about? Well, that's how I felt. I was going to the same job, but I wasn't getting paid for a whole year. Imagine that, going to the same job every day but not getting paid.
Damn.
I mean, you're working overtime, putting in work and hoping, well, we're going to pay you in a month, and something happened to your check. We're going to pay you next 2 months. We're working on somebody to pay you. So, I mean, like I said, a lot of people's not going to agree with this, but, I don't care, whoever you decide to pray to, like I said, whether it's Monster Moose or Allah, whatever the case is. But when things are out of your control, man, and you've done everything you could do, you might as well just pray. You ain't got nothing to lose. You already lost everything else. So that's what I was doing. I just thought, I'm just going to pray. Even when things got really bad, my girl would tell me, man, just pray. Ain't nothing else you can do about it. And that comes down to depression, anxiety, identity crisis. When it's out of your hands and it's bigger than you, surrender to a higher power. I mean, what else can you do? Cross your fingers?
We're luckily that we live here in LA County, and we have a fight coming up with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and we talk about like all of our opinions. Like Gio has acknowledged that you have who?
I have Fury
since day one.
Day one.
Chris,
it's only one Tyson.
I go back and forth, man.
Back and forth.
Fucking gauge and lemon squeezing, man. Fucking man.
Right.
You told me stay.
Oh man.
Yeah,
you might.
In the beginning, I had Deontay Wilder just by his windmill punch, right? Any given punch. But then when I started understanding the fight that he just won outside the ring, that's the thing that I'm trying to get at. Like, I believe he already won this fight versus Deontay Wilder based on what happened.
Yeah.
What's your take on this fight? Everything from outside the ring and inside the ring.
I feel like he already won the most important battle, is the battle called life that you win within yourself.
Right.
Him opening up about his depression, him talking about it, him being and putting himself in a vulnerable state. He grew 2 times as a man from the inside, not from what people see. A lot of times fighters lose a fight, not because of the man in front of them, because of the man that they see in the mirror.
Yeah.
Everything's not right with yourself, then everything won't be right when you step in that square, because all your flaws come out in that square. So I feel like he won the fight. I feel like he won the people, with telling his story. The best thing you can do, I feel like, is open your heart up to the world. When you open up your heart to the world, they can't do anything but love you for it.
And you know what's crazy? Not to cut you off, but
cool.
what's crazy is that happened after he reached like his peak, right?
Yeah.
He beat Vladimir Klitschko,
Yeah.
and then that's when all the depression
All
and
hell
drugs
broke loose.
happen.
Absolutely. And usually, man, when you come up, well, I mean, I can put a good household, but I got to a point where we didn't have anything. You know, the money, all that shit. You look at people that have that, and you think, man, I would give anything for that. Not knowing they're suffering more than you are. Like I said, material things that can be bought, they come and they go. But people, loved ones, peace, your sanity, that doesn't come and go. When you lose it, you lose it. So I mean, the fact that he bounced back from it. A lot of people don't bounce back from that dark place. He's talking about doing almost 200 miles an hour, and his Lamborghini is going to crash into a wall, and he saw his kid's face and his mind, and he pulled over. You know, everybody's been to that place, but people won't acknowledge that or talk about it. Everybody, you know, suicide is just saying, fuck it, it's crossed your mind. Is it okay to feel that way? You know, it's never okay to say I'm going to end it. But you know what it's not okay to do? It's not okay to not talk about it. So this is off the topic, but anybody that feels that way, it's okay. Excuse my language, but it's my mother used to tell me, it's okay if you're fucked up. But the main part is accepting, okay, I'm not okay. And the next step is accepting it, looking at it, calling for what it is, and how you're going to attack it and deal with it. It's okay to not feel okay. It's okay to not be okay. What it's not okay to do is keep it inside and not talk about it. Whatever the case is, you have to talk about it. So I think Wilder, he won the fight called life. Even if he loses this fight,
Fury.
he's still,
Fury.
Fury, my fault, not Wilder, but Fury. Even if he loses this fight, he's still gonna be the champ to the people. He can get knocked out in the first round. People are still gonna love him. Now Wilder, he's a great fighter, world champion, but he's things that he does and that he says is very contradicting to what he wants to be or who he's training to be. You know, I was always taught, don't be what you're not, and you're not gonna be who you're not. Just stick with what you know. And I feel like he's just trying to do some off the wall stuff, man. I mean, the rhyme talking and this and that, and I don't know, man. Just just stick with what you know. If you got two left feet, don't try to be a dancer.
You know, the thing with Fury that is interesting is the fact that I'm not sure if you saw when Fury was at the press conference with Klitschko.
Yeah.
He was like behaving like, had a costume like Batman and stuff like that. But the thing is, leading up to the fight, what he said was that he isolated himself from the family and he became independent, training by himself from everybody. And he's doing the same thing too with this train at Big Bear, and now he's with Ferry Roach. My thing with Fury is like he passed away already. He just reborn himself with what could have been. He could have easily died this past year. Like what you mentioned, right? You came at the top. And I feel with Wilder, you're absolutely right. I believe he's not like original. He's trying to be something that he's not. And that's my take with Deontay Wilder, that even though he proved himself like he has a heart against Luis Ortiz, I just feel that when you're in the ring with somebody that's passed away and that's come close to death, something that, Deontay Wilder could do with a single punch, but Fury, he scares me, man, because that's all of us are going to come face with death at one point. But the way Fury did it was the fact that he was actually alive after it. And I think that's what happens with that. And that's why I have Tyson Fury now, though.
Yeah. I say that the most dangerous fighter to fight is a fighter that has a serious purpose. Not a purpose for wealth, not a purpose of legacy, not a purpose of notoriety or for fame, but a purpose of fighting for something that's bigger than themselves. Fighting for something that you're going to fight for until the day you die. You can't beat a man like that. Majority fighters fight because they like boxing. They like what comes with boxing. They like being viewed as a boxer. But something like that, something that's bigger than yourself,
right?
You have everyone behind you. That's a dangerous fighter to fight.
And you're going to be at the fight?
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, that should be a good one. But go ahead.
So Anthony, sometimes the dark side of boxing can intervene politics, you know. What would you do if that dark side of boxing tries to get in the way of your purpose?
In my politics? Well, if it tries to get in the way if politics tries to get in the way, we've seen it. We've seen it happen before, and that was Ali.
Yeah,
civil rights in him, but not doing the draft. I was raised that a man is not defined by how tall he is, how much he weighs, how much he lifts, how many girls he has, how much money is in his pockets, by a set of core principles and morals in his heart that he's willing to die for, whether you agree with them or you don't. So when politics gets in the way, if I don't agree with it, then I'm gonna die for what I believe in. I believe that, you know, if they want me to fight, and all my funds go towards a war or something like that, or something I just don't agree with, right? Then I won't fight. If they boycott me, you know, I never fight again. That's fine. Politics gets in the way. Politics isn't more important or bigger than what's inside of me. At the end of the day, I have a say, so I have a choice. I have a voice. You know, and we've seen it. We've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
So a lot of people though, they won't. Everybody fights for what the cash, and I at one point did. Until I realized I'm fighting for something bigger than me. I'm fighting for people that will never see me and I'll never see.
At what point do you realize that?
Man, you ever? Well, I have to say this for you to understand. You ever listen to like you know, R&B albums, and it'd be like a dope ass album, and you didn't know the album was so dope because, you know, their wife died or their wife left them or their boyfriend broke up. You know, that pain, or like
The tragedy.
Yeah, tragedy. Poetry. You know, there's beauty in the darkness, beauty in the tragedy. Well, with all that being said, when you suffer to like a certain extent, it opens your eyes and gives you another perspective of enlightenment, of beauty, of intellect, a different view. I call them compassion glasses. Compassion glasses allows you to see something for its weaknesses and not its strengths. You feel me? So when you go through so much like that, it changes your view on life. So I feel like I went through so much hell and just bullshit and chaos. I got to a point where it enlightened me, opened my eyes up, and it's like, man, why the hell did I go through this? And one day it hit me. Like, I was reading a book, and I was like, I went through this not for me, but for others. I went through this to share the story for others. I'm paying this price right now so that another little boy, another little girl, when they go through this, I'll be able to tell them, look, this is how you get through it, boom, boom, boom. Just like that. So they don't have to go through it. I mean, if you want to go back to, you know, ancestors and stuff, you know, they say they paid the price for us. Or even your ancestors, they paid the price for you guys to get here, wherever the case was. I'm paying the price for maybe a little boy or girl I'll never see or meet. It might be generations down the line. But I said this is bigger than me. And a lot of people won't comprehend that. A lot of people will think it's stupid, that's dumb, whatever the case is. I feel like I'm about to make a big effect on this world, dog. It might be after I leave this world. That's cool with me.
I think you already did, honestly.
Yeah, for those who are for those people who are listening, I encourage you guys to look up his interviews.
I appreciate
Anthony
it, man.
Sims Jr. Because we only have a certain amount of time that we get to talk, and I know you have a lot to say, and you said a lot in the interviews, and you've said a lot of powerful stuff.
It's
so I
cool,
encourage
man.
everybody to listen.
I mean,
to
if you guys have any like deeper questions or deeper stuff you want to go into, because people are gonna listen to this and hear this, and if I can help them out, I'm all with it. You know. So, as I said, there's no surface you guys.
I do have one for you.
Oh, here we go.
All right. What will your message be for someone who feels like they're down and out, who feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, someone who feels like they're against the ropes and they can't fight back?
I would tell them that as long as you're living and have life in your body, it's always going to be adversity. It's always going to be trouble. And you can't have light without darkness. It's part of life. But I would tell them that with adversity comes blessings. It's part of life. You know, as you get closer to your blessing, the more adversity, the more hell, the more craziness comes. And really, when I dealt with that, when I got to a point where I felt like my back is against the ropes and I was like, I was suffocated. I couldn't fight anymore. Gotta surrender to a higher power, dog. I hate to keep coming back into it. God. But, I mean, I'm not the most religious man in the world, you know. I sin, I do things wrong. I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But one thing I will do is I'll surrender to a higher power in a minute. And not just because I'm going through hell, but just in general. And last thing, if you're going through hell, and, you're in a wheelchair or you're blind, whatever the case is, keep on fighting. But for those of you that have all your limbs, all your senses, you can walk, you can talk, you can read, you're perfectly fine. Yeah. Anything's possible within 24 hours. There's always a brighter day. It's cliche. But as long as you have breath in your body, that's a blessing right there. Anything's possible, man. You know how many homies I got, or how many successful dreams and stories never made it, was supposed to be successful because they're dead and gone in the cemeteries. My mom used to always tell me the greatest athletes and doctors and poets are all in one place. And I'm like, where? Was that L.A.? She's like, no, cemeteries. Never hear about them. But the fact that, you have breath in your lungs and you're alive, man, anything's possible.
Yeah, and then no matter how bad you have it, there's somebody who has it worse than you.
Always.
Everywhere. It's a big world. It's a lot of people.
It always
You know?
is. Always is. You're never alone. That's why I speak about what I speak about, because just looking at people, you never be able to tell. You know, he suffered through that. He's dealt with depression, anxiety. He's dealt with, you know, he's dealt with life on a hard side. So just expressing it, just talking to people.
And that's a very powerful topic, right, that people don't talk about.
No.
And a lot of people, myself included, like, I don't know too much about it, but mental health, how would you define it?
Mental health. Well, mental health. There's different mental health. Basically, it's mental illness. It's something inside your mind that you feel, and it's not fake. It's not an illusion. People think it's just like it's
They think they could just snap out
yeah,
of
they think it's not real, right? Depression, anxiety. I can't give you like the whole like
definition.
Doctor.
It's your own
definition.
interpretation.
Absolutely, but anxiety, getting nervous and not knowing what to do, or autism, not know you're socially awkward. You can't really socialize. You feel a certain way about it. There's so many of them. I can't name all of them, but for mine was depression. I felt like I was in the darkness when I was around people. I felt alone and helpless when there's people right in front of me. Anxiety, I would get nervous and I couldn't speak, couldn't talk, couldn't move, felt like couldn't breathe. I was socially awkward. I couldn't socialize. I couldn't speak to people. I couldn't do anything basically at one point. And with all those those different feelings that you may feel, there's one path that connects all three of those that a lot of people take, and that's suicide. If you've ever been trapped in your own mind, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not saying like, your girl broke up with you or you're broke and you're like, man, fuck it, end it. No, when you're trapped inside your own body, it's like you're looking out through your eyes, but like it's just like you're stuck. And as a child to feel that. A lot of children deal with depression and anxiety, but you know what? They can't speak on it. Because they don't know what they're feeling in the first place. Man, I can feel it, like what I felt back when I was a kid. Like I was trapped, man. I feel like I was really trapped inside my own body.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that think that there's no help to these issues,
no,
right?
It
so
is.
I want to talk about
How to help.
what are certain things that you did to kind of overcome that?
The first thing is I had somebody I could speak to about it. So that's my mother. But everybody, you might not have a mother.
Yeah.
It could be anybody around you, somebody that you trust, or an OG. OG was the main thing. And just having belief in myself that I can get through the situation. Everybody thinks these negative thoughts, and you may feel this way as far as mental illness. But I think it was just opening up about it, just having someone to talk to about it. And then being able to take that energy that you feel, when you're depressed, it's not just like a load that you feel. You feel angry with it. You may become aggressive. Everybody reacts differently. But taking that force, that suffering that you feel, and putting it into something. So it doesn't have to be a physical force. It can be a verbal force, spiritual force, whatever you want to do. Read, like I said, poetry, pottery. It's just, man, it's crazy, dog, 'cause I never thought that I'd be talking about, dealing with this as a child.
Yeah.
No, really. Like, the age where you, 8 years old, and you like, I don't want to live anymore.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure as a kid, like, you would think, like, this is just me. Like, I can't be better than this, or I can't overcome this, right? If you're a kid and that's been a norm your whole life.
Yeah, I mean, you're a kid. You always wonder why me. And it doesn't get any better. And you guys listen to this. I mean, if you've been in that position, just know you're not alone. I mean, the only thing I can say is close to it. I say it's for depression or something like that. Is if you turned off the lights and you got locked in a room, not knowing you had the key in your pocket the whole time. And you're locked there. It's pure quiet. Can't see, can't feel nothing. And to be trapped in your own mind, bro, it's like a nightmare.
And a lot of kids won't find that key, right?
And it's there the whole time. The key's within themselves, but if nobody's here to tell them, then. But I say the main part is just talking, opening up about it, so you don't feel so bad. Like, okay, I don't feel this way. Talking about it. I'm not saying it's gonna go away. It's not gonna go away overnight. It won't. I'll be lying to you if I told you that. I'm not gonna tell you, yeah, man, keep on fighting on and keep on. No. Life is the hardest fight in life, and it's an ongoing fight until the day you die. Everybody deals with their own illnesses and suffers in different ways. But I mean, it's a fight you're gonna have to fight. And the good thing is you don't have to fight it alone. It's not a boxing match. You got a whole army, a whole squad with you.
Yeah.
No, I just, to me, it's weird. Just encountering you, I'm being like straight legit with you.
I appreciate it, man.
Because it's almost like you're a glitch.
A glitch.
On this, no, on the sport of boxing.
Oh yeah.
It's just something that I'm not used to and be accustomed with. I saw Southpaw, I saw all the Creeds, I saw all the Rockies. I get it. I see how all the stereotypes comes into the mainstream culture, right? But when I see something like this, like, hey, wait, hold up, like you don't fit the narrative, you know. And I think that's one thing that I take away from just my encounter with you. That I'm just so like, and I'm not kissing ass or anything like that, dude. It's just being straight up with you. I'm just shocked that the energy that you the energy that you give with us, but also the energy you give with other people. And I'm just so sorry. Even like your answer, like regarding what do you see yourself from 5 years, is just totally
helping
like
others.
so shocking. Like it's so like unselfish of you to give that type of answer, and it's a blessing to me to see something like that in the sport of boxing, because honestly, that's what the sport of boxing actually needs.
Absolutely.
Instead of selling out.
Not just boxing, but I mean, at one point on this earth, there's an athlete who he spread a message of love, positivity, and a mutual respect, and that was Ali.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's gone, and his teachings is dying right behind him. They're dying out. People not talking about it no more. People not preaching anymore. They're not sharing it anymore. So I feel like that's where I come into. Like I said, man, I've suffered a great amount. And I don't know if you watched if you heard the last interview, but I started reading a lot when I started suffering, and I ran across this Martin Luther King quote, and I don't read no historic facts or nothing like that, but it said, he said, my personal trials have taught me the unmerited value of suffering. Unmerited means not deserved, means you don't deserve it. He says, as my suffering mounted, I soon realized I could react in two ways, either in bitterness, or I could respond and turn that suffering into a creative force. So I feel like, well, shit, if I'm going to suffer, I'm going to turn that suffering, I'm going to use it to help other people suffering. So I'm going to share my story and get it out there. And I'm sorry, man, I kind of stumbled when you asked me about the mental illness, because it's just like sometimes
these are real reactions.
Yeah, these real reactions.
It's not scripted. It's not you're not reading off a paper or anything.
Not at all, man.
You're in Deontay Wilder.
It makes me flash back to dealing with that, and the reason I deal with that, I've been staying away from it. But like people that actually know, do you really know what mental illness is? And that's at the age of 6, I lost my father to suicide, and the way I dealt with it, I lost really the ability to read and write. I was able to write before I could speak. I lost the ability to speak too, and then I lost my brother 3 years ago to suicide. It blew his brains out. Seeing him pass away. Not seeing him pass away, but seeing him die slowly, seeing him suffering. The blood coming out of his nose, his ears, his mouth, and telling him like, just let it go. Like, it's all right, bro. And then watching my brother, his last heartbeat, feeling it in his hands. You could feel the life leave their body. You could feel death come into the room. Really, it's a smell and it's a feeling. Dealing with that, a driving man insane. Losing your house, losing the car, your mom putting you out, feeling like you're not loved, like you're not cared about. Like, does anybody give a fuck about me? Feeling that true hopelessness, where you feel like it's all or nothing. I don't care anymore. I've been there. So the fact that I've been there, and I'd say a lot of people don't, man, they don't come back from it. I'm talking about a lot. My father didn't come back from it, and he destroyed my life. I hated my father for a long time. I hated him. Because I was like, you left me. You left me by myself. Me and my 5 sisters. You got teased, I got beat up, got robbed, I lost everything. But besides that,
a lot of people don't make it out of all these things that you talk about, but most people won't even talk about it.
Yeah.
So we commend you for even coming up here and talking about this, because that's some real shit, man.
It's real shit, but a lot of motherfuckers ain't real no more. Everybody's artificial,
Just how we talk about the social network stuff. People look at the highs, but nobody looks at the lows.
No, man. I mean, being honesty, I was always told there's not enough room for honesty and emotion in the same room. One got to go.
Yeah, I mean, to me, to put it in my perspective with you is you're not going to have a problem knowing who you are, because you already know what type of man you are. And another end from it is the fact that you're the complete opposite of Floyd Mayweather. And I'm not talking about being great inside the ring. I'm talking about being great outside the ring.
Absolutely.
And I think such a contradiction, the fact that your relatives with that family is kind of just...
And that's not like to put you against the ropes, but that's just to use this as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I appreciate it.
Two people who come from the same
thing.
Yeah.
And the lives are just so different.
I appreciate it. Like I said, being a product of your environment, that's not always the case. I had every right to be a dope boy, abusive, domestic violence, all that shit. But I chose to be different. I came from the same background Floyd came from, the same boxing background, same blood, same everything, upbringing, everything. Mm-hmm. But I chose to be different. Yeah. So,
it's almost like, I mean, the messages are just counter everything you see on Mayweather's like social media. People like want to be that, but it's all like, it's all just like a facade in a way.
Yeah, it is.
And it's crazy because I feel like, I don't want to assume things, but I'm not sure if he has peace. I feel like you have peace, and you're right. I feel like I'm gonna walk away this healed a little bit.
That's good,
with some more peace.
I'm happy I could do that. People don't understand the purpose of relationships. The purpose of relationships is to exchange information so that one another leaves better in the way they came. Whether that's a man and a woman, man and man, woman and woman. So I'm happy I could do that. Me sharing shedding a couple of tears and sharing pain with you will bless you. And
it's just funny you mentioned that because my tenure with my job is coming to a close end in December 21st, and I was talking to a couple of my coworkers, and I was acknowledging that I don't care about the work, honestly. At the end of the day, I don't give a shit about the experiences, given the fact that at the end of the day, all I care is about the relationships I've built, because that's going to stick together forever.
Absolutely. Man, relationships, they've made me everything I am. Just random people, dog. Just random from black sheeps in the neighborhood, and just it's off the wall. But like I still live in Long Beach. I could have moved to Santa Monica, Burbank, Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah. All of us are from Long Beach.
So I live on 5th and Cherry.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
So there's
interesting.
I was supposed to move, but I didn't move. I still live in my building because of a homeless man who lives in the alley. I ain't gonna tell you his full name, but his name's David. David was one time 14-0 as a professional boxer from Long Beach in the 80s. Very successful. Big time boxer. David got hooked on heroin, and he's still battling it, still stuck on heroin. He's like in his 50s. Clean Mexican cut guy. You wouldn't know that he was, on dope unless you pay close attention or you knew people like that. But he's in and out of his sister's house, and sometimes he sleeps outside most of the time with his boys.